Hey gang, it's Eivind here. I snuck off to this calm place. I'm actually on a cemetery. It's a pretty cold June evening. And I have something that I feel is important to share with you. I'm coming to you with a brand new series of videos inspired by a weekend that I had not this last weekend, but the weekend before. That was the first time that I actually had any time to myself in, well, I think actually years. We have a 1-year-old now, and it's been a lot with the garden. We have a lot of land and been a lot in the business, and I haven't had the time to really sit down and think. And I used to do that a lot, and I miss it. And I went away, and I had to sit down with God. We had a heart-to-heart about what matters right now in the world, and for me as a man and as a father and as a businessman. And what was clear is that I need to start speaking out more about the changes that are happening in the world. And I would love to bring that to you men out there as an offering, a service. Because I believe that I can support many of you to position yourself better for the coming changes, so that you can steward your family, you can steward your own life and the lives of your children and your wife, and find thriving in these times of transition. And these times are going to be difficult, and they already are difficult for a lot of people. And I've been speaking out to some extent about the push for tyranny in the world that I've seen over the last 4 years, and many of you have as well. And there's more and more coming out. Just the egregious lies that we have been told it's really starting to strike home to people. Truth is coming home to roost. And fortunately, I've followed my own understanding and my own instincts and my own gut feel and my own pattern recognition and my own understanding of the matrix in order to make decisions in this time. And all of the decisions that I made, including not taking the jab, including not doing stupid things financially, not getting into real estate right now, for instance, but instead looking at precious metals and Bitcoin and things like that, miners, precious metal miners. There are many ways that we can position ourselves and find probably unprecedented levels of thriving on the other side of this, because the way it always has worked in history is that once a recession and a depression comes around, the ones who have positioned themselves for it, they do really well. A lot of the time, the ones who do really well are billionaires, rich people who are somehow in the know. Maybe they have insiders among their friends. Maybe they have crooked politicians whispering them secrets. And this time I think it's a bit different. We have the opportunity now to have thousands, maybe even millions of normal people like you and me move into this transition with a lot of knowledge and being prepared for what's happening. The videos that I'm planning to make, as you may understand from what I'm saying, they will certainly include information about the economy and the kind of investments we are making as a family. I'm not a financial advisor, but the kind of investments we have been making recently have been doing really well. And there's going to be a ton of upheaval in the financial markets over the next months and years. And we're going to be looking at some of the plays that I expect to see there. But I also want to speak with you about the the occult agenda for making people hate each other, for soul snatching, for spiritual war on your soul, for the way in which projection has become so fever pitched that it has turned into full-blown vertigo. Vertigo being an expression from Native Americans that I will maybe spend some more time going into, but you can just look at it as a kind of a possession of the mind where we go insane and we take no responsibility for what we are doing wrong, and it's always somebody else's fault. And you can see this play out in politics, and you can see it play out between genders, and you can see this engineered war happening. Right now, today, I saw a headline here in Sweden. I'm a Norwegian, but I live in Sweden. About how NATO is going to win a war against Russia. I've lived in Sweden for 3 years now, and I haven't seen propaganda of this caliber anywhere in the world previously. And, well, probably COVID prior to that. That was propaganda. That was even more intense. And Sweden is a country that is cheering for Ukraine. And who doesn't? I mean, we all cheer for people that are struggling, hopefully. I want the people of Ukraine to do well. But they're not doing well. And supposedly NATO is in Ukraine to help. This is a lie. And we're watching now the Swedish media start to drum up the emotions required to support war. Just a couple of days ago, back home in Norway, the Prime Minister, who's an absolutely crooked man, he said, I think the young people of Norway, they are ready to give their lives for their country. Now, this is a man who's betrayed his country on about every level possible over these last couple of years. And he expects that the young people of Norway are going to die in service of the country that he himself has betrayed. 10 ministers of the Norwegian government, 10 or so in that region, have had to leave their office because of corruption. But because of the way that this system works, the politicians who are corrupt and corruptible are actually rewarded. And so they're typically sent off to some important international position of power in some organization like NATO or the EU or the World Health Organization or the World Economic Forum. Maybe they become diplomats in some other country. They typically don't lose power. They're just sent out of their office because they have been revealed to be completely crooked, and the aesthetics of them staying are bad, but they never lose power. This is what we've been seeing in Norway. And just like in Sweden, Norwegians are also, as you understand, preparing for war. This is a war that's completely unnecessary. We're going to be talking about this war and why it's unnecessary and why I think it's being pushed in these upcoming videos. But it's important to understand just how crooked this system is, and that there are financial reasons for pushing this war. But there are also deeper, more occult agendas that are at the root of what's happening. In the Matrix, like the Luciferian inversion of reality, whatever you call it, there will typically be a law that what you're being presented with is the opposite of the truth. And politicians who have been corrupted, you can call them matrix agents or just, corrupt people, they will tend to become mouthpieces for the reality inversion. They will become people of the lie. And so what they start doing is that they start to spread disinformation as per default. And then anyone who doesn't agree with them are being accused of being conspiracy theorists. So if you agreed with them and you obeyed, you now have poison in your body. Fortunately, not everyone's jab had equal amounts of the toxins, whatever is in that jab. But there's a lot of people in my life who are ill. A lot of people who are dead. I'm sure you're seeing similar things. And I mean, it's sad. It's sad and it's upsetting. And on some level, you just, to keep sane as somebody who sees through it, you need to start to kind of accept that everyone has their own destiny and that they make their own choices. But we were trained to hate each other over COVID. We were. And now we're going to be trained to hate each other over who supports war against Russia. And one of the things that we will have to look at in these coming videos is the way in which there's a continuous pendulum back and forth between polarities. For the past many years, we have watched the political left melt down with increasing levels of insanity and degeneracy. The level of support for child abuse has gone through the roof. There's support for total totalitarianism through COVID. We watched the attack on our youth and the minds of the youth through the way that they were psychologically manipulated through the pandemic, more like. We've seen just gross levels of hate of men, and we have watched a completely uncontrolled effort to import problems into the West, import traumatized people from war-torn countries, often Muslim countries that have been torn to pieces by NATO and by the US and by Israel and by any of the allies of the above mentioned. Norway was heavily involved in the bombing of Libya, and now Libya is hell on earth. Open air slave markets, and we were there, we're going to bomb this asshole Gaddafi. Turned out he wasn't such a bad guy. His problem was just that he wanted to create an alternative to the US dollar. The US didn't like that, so they bombed the place to pieces. Now it's controlled by absolutely deranged Muslim extremists. There's not much to be proud of as a member of NATO, to completely ruin a country like that and be responsible for it with our tax-paying money. So we watched the left import all of these Muslims, and now all of a sudden, after the left has been wrong about like everything for many years, I haven't agreed with the left on anything. Now all of a sudden they're right about something, which is that Palestinians in Gaza, they don't deserve to die. They don't deserve to be genocided. Really, what have they done? Not much. They're being ruled by Hamas, and Hamas has basically been funded by Netanyahu himself. Ehud Barak was even one of the people who was clear that no, Hamas, that exists because of Benjamin Netanyahu. 7th of October, clear case of false flag. That was arranged. That was planned. Hamas don't just stand there on the other side of that wall that separates Israel from Gaza and conduct military exercises under full supervision of the IDF. They don't just do that and not be seen. They were seen, and it was reported upon, but nobody did anything. The IDF were told to stand down on that day because Netanyahu wanted an excuse to go to war on Gaza. And it's really not war, it's a genocide. So now, all of a sudden, the left is right about something. And what is happening on the right? Well, now the right is supporting weaponized victimhood. Because apparently, when it's Israel that's supposedly being attacked, then you can be as woke as you want. You can use identity politics and weaponized victimhood. All you want because you like those people. And then you have riots on campus in the US. You send those poor people that have been completely indoctrinated into prison. And who's been funding those protests and those networks? George Soros. Who's George Soros? Well, he just happens to be somebody who is heavily protected by the Anti-Defamation League, a Jewish organization that is trying to protect their own people. And so you're starting to see that there are these strange affiliations between people on both sides of the spectrum. Could it be that the left and the right are the same? Are they controlled by the same people? Yes, it could be. It certainly could be. And we need to look at these things, because if we don't understand what's happening, we won't be able to place ourselves. Not with our money, not with our relationships, not with, our loyalty to the right kind of people, so on and so forth. This is important stuff. It's actually it's a spiritual topic, because we are in something akin to a spiritual war, where there's so much lies being pushed that we can't tell up and down on the world anymore. And for whatever reason, I have some talents for seeing through the veil, and I also have this strange characteristic. It's not nearly as commonplace as I thought it used to be, is that I'm actually not partial. I don't really care who's right. I just want the truth. And so in these videos, I want to really start to reveal the forces that operate in the Matrix, the various spiritual forces, human and non-human. I want to support you men to get positioned so that you can thrive through the transition, so that you can steward the wealth of your family, so that you can increase the wealth of your family, so that instead of BlackRock buying everything when things crash, you can be part of it. You can be part of buying it, and you can be part of exposing the lies that are being now pushed in order to summon kinetic World War III upon us. Our leaders, it looks to me, are trying to destroy the West. The EU is collapsing. And for some reason, NATO is going to, well, supposedly beat Russia in war, but at the same time, all of the energy and the factories are being shut down. So we won't have energy to build weaponry because we used to get that energy from Russia, and now there's not enough energy production in Europe because we shut down our nuclear energy. So here's a continent preparing for war by shutting down their energy production. Have you seen anything this ridiculous? I mean, how can you have to see through this, right? We have to look through it and become free from this kind of absolute nonsense that we are being peddled. So if this sounds like it's something that you want to be part of, seeing through the veil and becoming spiritually, psychologically, and emotionally free from the drama that is playing out, so that we can give truth and love to our families and our loved ones, and be here as the new kingdom, the kingdom of God emerges on the other side of this. And by that, I believe I'm speaking of a place in which corruption is gone, the evil, the Luciferian demonic evil is gone, and truth and love reigns on planet Earth yet again. We're going to be here for that, and we're going to make sure that it happens. I'd love for you to be part of that. And if you want to be part of that, then like this video and help the algorithm, and subscribe and be ready for receiving the next video when that is ready. There will be low key production values like this, because that's all I have time for, but I just want to get a lot of this content out. And so I hope you join me, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.